There's a couple in Columbus, Ohio, Derek and Maya, both 34, combined income of $118,000 a year. By every measure, they look like they made it. 4-bedroom colonial in a good school district, 2-car garage, a front porch with a swing. Their neighbors probably think they're doing great. They are not doing great. Their mortgage, property taxes, HOA fees, and insurance run $3,400 a month. That's before the water heater cracked last winter, before the roof inspection came back with a warning, before the $600 electricity bill in August because the house is twice the size they actually need. After housing, Derek and Mia have about $800 left for everything else. Groceries, car payments, their kids' soccer registration. One unexpected expense away from credit card debt every single month. Then there's Marcus, same city. Makes $74,000 a year as a high school administrator. He rents a 2-bedroom apartment for $1,450 and maxes his 401k every year. His friends quietly pity him because he doesn't own. He spent last Saturday at a brewery. He slept fine that night. Both of these people made a choice about housing. One choice quietly ruins financial futures. One quietly builds them. And the line between the two is one most people don't notice until they're already on the wrong side of it. If you're someone who bought more home than you can really afford, or you're about to, subscribe and like this video. It will help more than you think. Here's the thing no one tells you at the closing table. Buying a house is not automatically a good financial decision. We've been told for so long that home ownership equals wealth building that we forgot to ask whether the specific home at the specific price, at the specific moment, actually does that for you. The house isn't the problem. The price is. There's a term for what Derek and Mia are experiencing. House poor. It means you own a home, but the home owns everything else. Your savings, your vacations, your retirement contributions, your margin for error. According to a 2024 Lending Tree analysis of Census Bureau data, over 18 million American homeowners are currently house poor, spending more than 30% of their monthly income on housing costs. And among those, nearly 44% spend more than 50%. That's not a mortgage. That's a financial trap with a nice lawn. The real enemy here isn't the interest rate. It isn't the market. It's something quieter. A psychological force that kicks in the moment you fall in love with a house. Researchers call it escalation of commitment. Normal people call it, we've already made 3 offers. We're not walking away now. Think of it this way. Buying a house is like filling a glass with water. You want the glass full, that's the goal. But when you overfill it, you spend every day trying to keep the water from spilling instead of actually drinking it. The 28% rule exists for a reason. Financial planners have used it for decades. Keep your monthly housing payment, mortgage, taxes, insurance under 28% of your gross monthly income. It's not a perfect rule, but it's a guardrail that keeps the rest of your financial life intact. Derek and Mia are spending 34.6% of their gross income on housing. That 6.6% gap doesn't sound like much. Translate it. On their income, that's about $650 a month. That's $7,800 a year. Invested consistently at a 7% average return over 25 years, that gap is $524,000, $500,000, gone. Not to the house, but to the overage, to buying slightly too much house. This is where it gets harder to look at because the numbers aren't the only thing driving the decision. Derek and Mia didn't buy that colonial because they ran the math wrong. They bought it because the neighborhood felt safe, because the schools ranked well, because they'd been renting for 6 years and felt behind, because their parents said real estate always goes up, because the lender approved them for $520,000 and it felt like permission. Lender approval is not the same as financial readiness. A bank will lend you as much as they calculate you can technically repay, not as much as you can repay and fund a Roth IRA and handle an emergency and still go to dinner once in a while without guilt. The bank is not your financial planner. The bank is the bank. According to NBC News analysis of census data, nearly 1 in 4 middle-income Americans who bought homes in 2022 bought into cost-burdened situations. That's twice the share from a decade earlier. Not because they were careless, because home prices grew faster than incomes, and the emotional pressure to buy, especially after years of watching prices climb, overrode the math. Marcus, back in his apartment, isn't winning because he's smarter. He's winning because he didn't confuse the symbol of stability with stability itself. He has $1,200 going into his 401k every month. He has an emergency fund with 6 months of expenses. When his car needs new tires, it's annoying. It's not a crisis. Here's what house poor actually costs you, and it's not just the money, it's the retirement contributions you skip. It's the 401k match you leave on the table because the cash flow isn't there. It's the home repairs you defer until they become catastrophic. And because the $4,000 for a new HVAC unit doesn't exist in the budget. So you wait, and then it fails in February, and now it's $7,000. It's the way financial stress compounds into relationship stress. Studies from the American Psychological Association consistently find housing costs among the top drivers of financial anxiety in the U.S. And anxiety is not free. It costs sleep, it costs health, it costs the version of yourself that shows up calm at the dinner table. There's a specific trap that keeps people locked in this cycle. Call it the just one more year syndrome. You know the costs are too high, but you tell yourself, just one more year and we'll have more equity. Just one more year and I'll get a raise. Just one more year and it will feel more manageable. One more year becomes 5. The equity builds, but so does the fatigue. And by the time you consider selling, the kids are in school, the roots are deep, and leaving feels like failing. The house isn't a villain, but at a certain price point, it becomes a lock. And the key, the financial freedom you thought you were buying, doesn't come with it. So what do you actually do? Whether you're shopping now or already in a house that's stretching you thin. The first thing is to run the real number before you fall in love, not the number the lender gives you. Take your gross monthly income and multiply it by 0.28. That's your ceiling. For a household making $118,000 a year, that's $2,753 a month, all in, including taxes and insurance. In most major metros, that buys significantly less house than the bank will approve you for. That gap is the trap. Know it before you start touring. The second thing, if you're already in the house, is to find one lever you can pull, not 10. 1. Can you rent the basement or spare room on a short-term basis? Can you refinance if rates drop a full point? Can you reduce one discretionary expense enough to restart a $200 a month 401k contribution? The goal isn't perfection, it's stopping the erosion. Derek and Mia can't undo the purchase, but if they can get $400 a month back into savings, that's $400 a month not compounding against them. The third thing, and this one matters if you're still renting and feeling the social pressure, is to understand that renting is not losing. Marcus isn't losing. Every month he's buying optionality. He can move for a job. He can respond to a medical expense without destroying his finances. He can invest in the market at a pace that builds genuine wealth. The rent versus buy calculation is real, and it swings both ways depending on price to rent ratios in your market. In cities where home prices are 25 to 35 times annual rent, owning often doesn't pencil out for years, if ever. I've been tracking my own investments and housing costs for over a decade. I've seen the math work beautifully, and I've watched it collapse on people who looked on paper like they were doing everything right. The difference is almost always the price point, not the asset class. Derek and Mia are still in that colonial. The porch swing gets used on good weekends. Most weekends they're exhausted. They don't talk about money much because talking about it doesn't seem to change anything. The neighbors still wave. Marcus still rents. He booked a trip to Portugal last month, the first real vacation he's taken in 3 years, paid in cash. He doesn't have a lawn. He doesn't have a porch swing. He has about $210,000 in retirement accounts at 36, and he sleeps fine. The house you can afford doesn't always look like the house you want, but the house you can afford doesn't take everything from you while you're trying to live in it. Owning a home can be one of the best financial decisions of your life, or it can be the decision that quietly costs you the next 20 years. The home is the same. The price is everything. If you're thinking through this right now, you're not going to drop your situation in the comments, or if you're already past the crossover point, I want to hear that too.